beautiful, beautiful, beautiful song. Of course, we're starting once again another sensational Sunday right here on Flashpoint Radio. It begins again today. We are in studio once more with, of course, your girl Elise for this one. Are you ready? I certainly am ready for this sensational Sunday. I can't wait to hear what comes up next.
Sensational Sundays with your girl Elise on Flashpoint Radio. Come, let's talk, let's hang, let's just jam on Sunday, 3 p.m. Flashpoint Radio. I want to say welcome to another sensational Sunday. And this particular episode of Sensational Sunday is very exciting and interesting. I like to say that life is dynamic. It's never ever static at all. You're moving in different directions on this journey called life. Today, we are speaking about wealth. The best wealth that you can possibly dream of. And I want to start by sharing some words from the poet called Edgar Guest. And he has entitled his poem, Life's Bill of Fare. Enough to eat, a time for play, and clothes to keep the wind away. At night, a place to go to rest, and health and strength for every test. What more than these doth life contain? Then why this constant strife for gain? What more has king or prince today, or he 3 times a millionaire, than food to eat and hours for play, a place to sleep and clothes to wear? Sum up life's favors as you will. It is for these we fight and kill. And he 3 times a millionaire, and he upon the heights sublime, like you and me, can only wear one suit of clothing at a time. Once satisfied his appetite, then richest food mean no delight. And so, if you have these, I say, envy no man his hoarded store. Contented, journey on your way, you will not happier be with more. Enough to eat, some clothes to wear, a place to sleep, life's bill of fare. Listeners to Flashpoint Radio this afternoon, we have so much to be thankful for. A place to sleep, some food to eat, and some time to play. I want to start off by saying a special Hello to listeners there. Special hello to Steve, who is joining us for the first time. Welcome on board the Flashpoint ship, sailing out to the ocean to places where you have never been before. Hello to Ray and all our listeners wherever you are, whether you're in China, England, Jamaica, Canada. We are so happy that you have tuned in to join us this afternoon. So, as we get started, we are going to be lining up a few melodies this afternoon, and we have some artists here. Some of them you know them. They are right here in the Grand K, and they have beautiful songs that they have written that they will be of such encouragement to us. I remember speaking with the listeners last week and just saying to you that in a moment of anxiety, when I felt unwell, I I just tossed and turned and lost sleep, and I couldn't imagine that having so much faith in God, then I would have found myself in a situation of such anxiety. And as we consider all the things that perplex us in life, one does recognize the importance of having good health. Health, of course, is your wealth truly, because when you're not healthy, it's hard for you to enjoy life as you would want to enjoy it. So, we're going to listen to a few songs as we get the program rolled out, and our guests are flying in from all part of the world to join us in studio, and we're going to talk about health being your wealth. So as you get ready and you get ready to share the link and tell someone else about good health, then you're going to just listen on to some wonderful music. And I'll share another poem with you called Good Health. And this is by Catherine Pulsifer. Good health is best found in healthy habits, a diet of nourishment, plenty of rest, grow your own garden, cook meals from scratch, take a walk or do some yoga or just stretch. Fuel both your body and mind with positivity, with self care and reflection to lead the way. Learn new coping mechanisms to get through life's challenges so you can live in peace every single day. And that, listeners, is a powerful, very powerful remedy for our health and state of mind. So just relax on this wonderful, sensational Sunday. Kick back and give thanks.
Say this morning I woke up and I look in the mirror and every part of my body was in place. Many people died and never saw this day. So another day I live, I appreciate. Don't ever wanna act too high and mighty, cause tomorrow I can fall down on my face. So in everything, Lord, I give you praise, and that puts a smile on my face. Lord, I thank you for sunshine, thank you for rain, thank you for joy, thank you for pain. It's a beautiful day, beautiful day, beautiful day. Don't fuss and fight, let us unite. comes with a lesson. It's for me to get wiser. Got to work harder. In the end, it will get better. Lord, I thank you for sunshine. Thank you for rain. Thank you for joy. Thank you for pain. It's a beautiful day. It's a beautiful day. Please don't fuss and fight. Let us unite. We got the light, so let's make it right. It's a beautiful day. It's a beautiful day. If you got life, then give God praise. You may not have much, but you're living day by day. You can have faith and don't wanna work. Get up off that seat and put that brain to work. Hey, hey, it's a beautiful day. Yeah, it's a beautiful day. Hey, it's a beautiful day. It may not be the way I want it to be, but I thank you for every situation that made me good and bad friends that came into my life, and those who are still here today. Lord,
Wow.
I thank you.
Indeed, we can give thanks. Yes. You're listening to Sensational Sunday. And listeners, if you have not had the opportunity to share that link and to tell someone else the very good news, then you need to do that now. Now we're going to be talking about wealth. Wealth. I believe there is so much information out there in the space about getting rich, acquiring stuff, getting all of these things. How do we get out of debt? How do we manage our money? How do we get rich? But I have news for you, listeners. The news is that your greatest wealth is your health. I know, because if you have not your health, you spend all the wealth trying to get back your health. So joining us in studio, we have Sebastian Tay, who is a medical missionary, and we also have Dr. Dorna, who is here with us. And we're going to delve into this discussion this afternoon. I think it's very relevant. So I want to say, welcome, Sebastian.
Welcome, welcome. Good morning, good morning. I'm morning here in China. It's about 4:30 in the morning. I just wake up about an hour, half an hour ago.
Well, thank you. Thank you so much for joining us here on Flashpoint Radio. And I want to ask you, as we get into the discussion, when we say your health is your wealth, what does that statement mean to you? Especially knowing that you're a medical missionary. I know you have been to many places. But what does that statement mean to you?
Well, especially right now in China, there's a lot of rich people. The economy is booming and all these things. But when they are sick, those wealthy people, when they are sick, okay, they have nothing. Their wealth mean nothing. So when you are healthy, even you are poor, you are something. This is what I'm trying to say. Even when you have no money in your pocket, but when you are healthy, you are better than the wealthy people in the world.
That is so true. Before you came on, I was relating this story or my experience. About 2 weeks ago, I was feeling unwell. And it caused me to get so anxious that I lost sleep. And pretty soon, I measured my blood pressure. I'm not hypertensive, but believe me, there were changes in my blood pressure. I don't know, I think I was dragging myself around and just feeling. And I recognized at that point more than any time else that indeed your health is your wealth. And tell me, where have you been? I know I just have a little idea that I saw you in Cayman and now you're saying that you're in China. And so you know
Well,
that the passion for health takes you all over the world. Just tell me, give me an idea of where you have been to.
well, I have been in Africa, many part of the southern part of Africa, and then some part of Caribbean island like Bahamas, like Jamaica, Cayman Island for sure. And I'm going to Costa Rica soon in about a month. I will be in Costa Rica, United States, and most part of Europe, of course in Asia, like Malaysia, Thailand, Indonesia, Philippines. This is my normal routine. They like go there to help those people who need my help.
All right, so you realize that this is not just a situation, a health situation is not confined to any particular place. We need health wherever we find ourselves. Sister Dorner, you're online and you're hearing the conversation. Health equal wealth. What is your perspective on health and wealth?
As I think about that, I am reminded of this great American philosopher. His name was Ralph Waldo Emerson. And in 1860, I believe, he was the one that said the first wealth is health. And so this, when you think about it, if you are poor, as Dr. Tay was saying, if you are poor and you're able to get up and go get a job and you're able to get up and go out and do whatever you need to do, that strength and that energy can afford you to become even wealthier. If you don't have that, where are you? You may have all the money in the world, but you can't move. You have no strength, and there's nothing that anyone can do to bring you back to your state of health that you want to be in. So yes, it doesn't matter how much you own or how much owns you. It is the health, which is what was important to God and who gave us those laws to maintain our bodies in that shape in which we are to be as his representative. And this is, I think, the whole point of getting medical missionary work together and started.
So, as you
It's
mentioned, medical missionary, who is a medical missionary?
Dr. Tay,
Well,
you
I
want
think
to?
anybody who represent Christ to go and help others, can be medical missionary who understand about the need to help others, who understand the need to help themselves to be healthy, to practice the eight law of health. The key point is not only practice the eight law of health. The key point is able to help those in need, those their neighbor, their friend, their colleague. That is the key.
You know what I find? I find in more my own experience that I look back and I said, if I know now, if I had known in my previous
Then,
experience, yes,
mhm.
I
Then
would,
what you know now.
what I know now, I would have
Mm-hmm.
lived my life differently. And
Mm-hmm.
I believe we don't come with a handbook, right? So I remember my neighbor, my kids, I didn't give them soda pops for a while. I just didn't believe. And my neighbor would say, you're robbing the children their childhood. When you were young, you would have soda, and so let them do it now. They're young and they can enjoy, they can have almost anything to eat, right? And I believe most of us, we do stuff and then later on we find out that it's at the detriment of our health. So you end up with lifestyle diseases that could have been better if we have lived our life differently. Now, I know Sebastian is over there in Asia. Do you find that that situation exists? And I know that Western medicine, I'm not sure if it's, we rely heavily on medication to get us well.
I think it's everywhere, not only in Cayman Island. It's everywhere. People want to have easy solution. When they are sick, they want to pop some pill. You see, when you drink the soda pop, the high sugar content, that your immune system will sleep for 5 hours at least. Your immune system are weak for 5 hours when you drink the soda pop and eat the candy and eat the cake, and your immune system just low. That is the key point, that when you exercise, when you sleep at 8 hours, your body immune system is strong, are able to combat the virus and bacteria.
I'm sure we would have learned that if we didn't learn that any time in the last couple of years. I have never heard so much emphasis on your immune system and what you can do for your health. So this is relevant information. And I noticed Dr. Dorner mentioned the 8 laws of health. And I'm sure we would want to, for those of us who don't know the laws, who would want to get your paper in hand and your pen and write them down, can you remind us what these 8 laws are?
If I may, before we do that, while people are finding paper and pen, I find it very, very interesting that around the time that we were given the health laws as part of the third angel's message in 1863 was the time when these people came up with their different theories of what health is about. And the servant of the Lord tells us that transgression of the physical law, which is the 8 laws we're talking about, is equivalent to transgression of the moral law. You see that in Christ Object Lessons, page 347. So that these messages, these health reform, was added so that the people could be commandment keepers in terms of not violating those laws. Another interesting thing that I have found is that in Exodus 15 and verse 26, God tells Moses how the people would keep healthy. He said, if you obey and do all my commandments, I will not allow the diseases of the Egyptians to come on you. So we have those promises. We've been given, I call it protection. And when we follow these, we find that we stay healthy. And how? There is an acronym that makes it very easy. I think they have claimed it for it, maybe rightly so, but it's called New Start. That's the acronym that I will write out and give to my patients to put on their refrigerator when they come to see me. And so the N is for nutrition. We are what we eat. Okay? And so, and we've been given guidelines with regards to this also. The E is for exercise. You've got to move, you've got to oil that wheel. That's part of maintaining your health. The W is for water. And I meet people who tell me they don't drink water. And so that's a whole other conversation. The S is for sunlight. Very, very important. And people are just finding out now how important that is because everybody's running to get vitamin D. And that's one of the benefits of being in the sun. T, that T is, she calls it abstemiousness, but that we've translated to become temperance. So whatever you do, and as I explained to those that I take care of, if I tell you drink 12 glasses of water daily and you go and drink 24, that's not temperate. And you can get sick from that. A, that's for air. That's for fresh air. And everything God gives us, Satan tries to come up with a counterfeit. So then we had masks where we're rebreathing our CO2. So that's another day's soapbox. So I'm not going to go on that. R is for rest. And that I break down into resting 8 hours a night, 1 day a week, and vacation. Is how I break that down for those who are needing to know that, because a lot of people do not take vacation. Sometimes it is just necessary for you to get away. And then T is for trust in divine power. And that is the most essential part of all of this, because when you have that, your stress level is almost negated. You almost don't have stress when you really know your God and know you can trust and rely and believe in Him because He is always faithful. So that when you don't have that, there are people running around getting crazy because they're not sure how their monies are going to be. They're not sure of anything. But when you have that trust, so everything there works together to keep the body in its normal state. If we sleep the amount of time we're supposed to sleep, if we exercise the right way, if we drink enough water, if we're not stressing so we're living in an acidic state, we find that the milieu, the body's internal area is normal. It's okay. When we go against those laws, that internal milieu is not the same. Either it becomes too acidic, it becomes too alkaline, or someplace that it really isn't supposed to be. And that is when we get this ease. The idea of bringing something into your body to make it sick, that is not the way. That is a false system that we have been dealing with, and that has created more problems than we have time to talk about today. So it is, and people are coming to rest. Go ahead.
Yeah, excellent. The listener, those listener in Cayman Island, those listener in Caribbean island, listen carefully. Okay, the trust in God, as you know that from the Bible that a merry heart doeth good like a medicine. Okay, that is very important. When you are stressed, you get into your bone. You understand, and bone is the one who produce the blood, the blood, the white blood cell, the red blood cell. So a merry heart is do a good like a medicine. And then when you go and help others, the 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 There's a statement called it, the consciousness of right doing is the best medicine. So when you go and help other people, the consciousness of right doing is the best medicine. So go and help someone who are in need. And especially when you are in Cayman Island, you are surrounded with a lot of nice beach. And people don't go to the beach today. So when you go to the beach, okay, you got the exercise, you got the salt water, the magnesium, and you got the sunlight. When you are in Cayman Island, even during the winter, you can soak yourself into the water. It's very rejuvenating. It is free. You have a lot of protection, the fresh air, the exercise, the sunlight. When you go to the beach at about 4 o'clock, 3 o'clock, man, you still get the sunlight. Take advantage of it. And my brother and sister who are in Cayman Island, go to your beach. You got the exercise. It's free. You don't even need to have any membership. You understand? And it's very accessible. God bless the people there in Cayman Island, and you don't take advantage, especially so-called, a lot of people that in the you let the European come to your beach, and you are in the beach. You don't take, you don't make use of it, brother and sister in Cayman Island. Please, do I hit somebody today?
Listen, Sebastian, I was at the beach this morning and it was
Amen. Hallelujah.
and I remember when you came here and I mentioned to you that it was a bit choppy or it was a bit rough or we would call it and you said it's good for you. It's good massage for you. I know sometimes the stress of work, the schedule of work limits us. And when you said a merry heart, I started to think about it because we learn these theoretical, we have the knowledge, we know about nutrition, we know about exercise. And when we are faced with circumstances, I don't know if when we actually are faced with the issues of life, to know that the foundation is trusting God. And we will find time to do all the other things that we need, the nutrition. We'll find time to get the right foods, would find time to exercise. But right now, we find ourselves so bombarded with so many things in life. It's work, it's this activities that, and then we neglect. And guess what? When our health fails us, we will do anything in our power to get back that health. So, listeners, if you're here listening this afternoon to this program, the message is clear. We know that God has given us this information not just for just knowing the stuff, it's for applying it to our life so that we can live happier, healthier lives. It doesn't mean that you won't have stuff bombarding you. You won't have issues and circumstances that will, but you will be better able to cope with them. Now, there are some listeners there who are already having issues with their life. They are having issues with the diabetes, they're having issues with the arthritis, they're having issues with cancer and high blood pressure, so many other issues they are faced with. If they're in that situation, is there any help for them? Dr. Dorner, can you say, is there any help for them if they're already facing health issues? How can they now cope with it?
Definitely. They need first to go to God and to pray and ask for forgiveness for violating the laws of health. Secondly, what they know, what they've done has caused this harm and this damage. So the first, or rather the second thing is to stop what we've been doing and to follow, to start looking into what God has given us. He made this body and He knows just what we need. You know, I've seen it where I've had people that have come to me and said, you know, I've never been without pain. And I can look and say the buck can stop right here if you follow what you need to follow. And then they'll come back and say, oh, I can't believe what you need to believe because God is able, you know. So um, I just want to say a few things about, because our body is fearfully and wonderfully made.
Amen. Amen.
And there are things that interact. And I'm going to just briefly talk a little bit about, let's say, diabetes, how we control the blood sugar and the insulin. There are a few things that we can do. If we follow those uh, laws of health, that we will have no problem. We can reverse the diabetes. Now, we have to manage our food. We have to think about movement and managing stress response. How are we responding to the stress? Are we going to that for that divine help? And then what we're eating and again, following those laws. So, just briefly, for those who do not know or maybe need to get a refresher, um, to keep blood sugars, in check, that the body handles about 5 liters of blood. And for all of that, do you know how much sugar we need to maintain the energy to keep it going? 1 teaspoon in
One
5 liters.
one teaspoon
Okay? 1 teaspoon.
for an entire
Yes.
day.
Yes. In order to maintain the 1 teaspoon, the body produces an enzyme, if you want to call it that. It's called insulin. And this pushes the sugar inside the cells, where it is then used as energy. If there is excess, that which is not used up, that then becomes stored as fat. So there is something that's called triglyceride. In all your metabolic pathway, you're going to find triglycerides. And that's something that we check when we're checking your cholesterol. Okay? And that may be high in this case. Now, when we eat processed food, carbohydrates, the body makes more insulin. Okay? Eventually, the insulin level is going to get so high that the body becomes insensitive to it. It will not function. Okay, you have receptors, they'll become overloaded, they will not function. Now, it no longer works. And when this happens, the blood sugar creeps up as well as the insulin level. What's going on in your body? Now, I said enzyme, it's actually a hormone. Whenever you have a derangement in hormonal levels, whether it's high or low, there is a problem. It wreaks havoc on your health, whether it's high or low. So that when insulin gets high in the body, it packs on the pounds. We start to get fat. It's a storage hormone, it stores fat. So when blood sugar levels are greater than your body's immediate energy needs, that sugar gets converted to fat, which is then stored mostly around your waist. It's one thing that the excess sugar or insulin is going to do. The other thing it does, and I heard Dr. Tay mention about magnesium, it lowers magnesium levels. And magnesium is a mineral involved in over 300 enzymatic reactions in the body. It is crucial for brain, for mood, for the heart, and for blood vessel functions. The body needs it to regulate your blood sugar levels. Okay? Now, it also makes your blood pressure soar. Your blood pressure gets higher when you have too much insulin in the body. Insulin increases sodium levels, and this causes your body to hold onto water. You may find some people with their legs getting swollen. A major cause of high blood pressure. So you eat too much sugar, too much refined foods. Do you see how many systems, how many processes are involved? We're not done. It increases inflammation. Insulin boosts your immune system, causes an increase in the production of inflammatory compounds. These same compounds are associated with degenerative and deadly conditions like heart disease, like diabetes, like dementia, like arthritis, and cancer. Okay? Then insulin also wreaks havoc on cholesterol. High levels of insulin reduces the protective good cholesterol, the HDL, and increases the level of the low density lipoprotein, LDL, and it also increases the triglycerides. This works to increase your risk of heart disease. The last thing here, it boosts your risk of cancer because insulin is proliferative. It causes growth. It causes enhancement of your body fat. That means it increases cancer cells' ability to reproduce. So we encourage people to eat whole foods, the one you get out of the ground, the unprocessed. Don't avoid foods that come in a package. In other words, so that is one, just one, thinking about one thing and one system. So now, let's say a person is diabetic. What do we do? How do we treat that? We want to give them.
I think in Caribbean island you have everything there to solve this problem, and I want to make it more practical. Okay, still remember when we say that a merry heart will good like medicine. When you go to church, when you go to prayer meeting, when you go join the choir, when you sing song, when you worship, a lot of your problem will be gone. Listen, and because of COVID, a lot of people don't go to church. You know, you need to go to church. You see, on prayer meeting, or on Saturday, on Sabbath, on Sunday, you need to go to church to boost out your immune system. They are very important. Don't miss the church going. When you sing song, those people they have done a lot of study for people who are church goer. Okay, they go to church. Their immune system is higher, is better. So you need to start to go to church. And there's something that in Caribbean island is so good. That's what we call cassava. The cassava, the pumpkin, the sweet potato leaf. You know, I cannot stress enough that the breadfruit, the origin. I mean, when our grandpa, when our grandma who eat the plant-based diet, they don't have all the heart disease and all the diabetic and all these things.
But you know,
So when I talking about diet, it is available in the Caribbean island. So go and eat your plant-based diet and go to church. And I'm so excited that there's two or three things that I want to emphasize here. Okay, sweet potato leaf, pumpkin leaf, cassava leaf, all can be eaten. Okay, this is very important. And today there's two food that I want to introduce that are very important that can clean out your blood vessel. It is something that it will blow your mind. Is soya bean. Okay, is this? I'm sure there is that you can find in health food store called natto. Natto. Natto is one of the superfood in Japan that those people can live more than 100 over years old. And those old people, this is their regular diet. Natto. 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 Okay, it's kind of fermented soya bean. Okay, there's one I want to emphasize, and another one that I want to emphasize is a kind of oil. It's a kind of seed. Perilla is Perilla. Okay, those of you who have pen, you need to write down these two food. Natto, Natto. Natto is a beans. It's a soy made from soya bean. Another one is Perilla. Perilla oil. Perilla oil is a kind of seed, and this is the kind of food that those people use in their cuisine in Korea. Okay, these two particular food that you need to add into your diet. If you do it for 1 month, you'll find fantastic. But don't forget your sweet potato leaf, okay, your pumpkin leaf, okay, your cassava leaf. Don't forget to eat your cassava. It's so important. Dr. Donna, do you still remember when I come to you, I bring you the yam leaf? You still remember that?
Yam leaf.
Those people cook a lot in the Philippines.
Yes. You purple yam or the regular yam?
All the heating food is in Caribbean island, and you don't know how to use it.
Oh man,
That's true. And before you go before you go further, I want to mention the genetic influence as it relates to diabetes, as Dr. Dorner was mentioning. And I know all the natural foods we in Cayman, Sebastian, as you said, I don't know, maybe it's a state of mind, because I will say to you, we don't have access to as many natural foods as Dr. Dorner was saying, too many processed foods. But I long for a nice piece of yellow yam, but it's so expensive here, you know.
You can plant it.
I don't, you know.
Grow some.
Yeah, when I'm in Cayman Island, when I'm overseas, you still have plenty of land around that you can grow.
That's true.
The church have a lot of backyard. There's a lot of space in the church that you can grow. Sweet potato leaf, cassava leaf, pumpkin leaf. You know, it's very easy to grow.
All right, so we're going to pause for one short break, and we're gonna be right back, listeners. We will be right back.
This morning I woke up and I look in the mirror and every part of my body was in place. Many people died and never saw this day. So another day I live, I appreciate. Don't ever wanna act too high and mighty, cause tomorrow I can fall down on my face. So in everything, Lord, I give you praise, and that puts a smile on my face. Lord, I thank you for sunshine, thank you for rain, thank you for joy, thank you for pain. It's a beautiful day, beautiful day, beautiful day, yeah. Middlemen and seducers walks worse, but the signs around us are telling God is coming to end the curse. Should we sacrifice trust in the Bible? Should we crucify Jesus again? Must we give up the faith that has led us this far? Hold fast, fight on to the end. Apostates love to hear fable, and the preachers supply their demands. The state will enforce their dogmas against the Lord's commands. Should we sacrifice trust in the Bible? Should we crucify Jesus again? Must we give up the faith that has led us this far? Hold fast, fight on to the end. We are at that moment in history that the prophets of old long to see. We stand on the threshold of glory. Oh, glory for you and me. Should we sacrifice trust in the Bible? Should we crucify Jesus again? Must we give up the faith that has led us this far? Hold fast, fight on to the end.
Hold fast.
Must we give up the faith that has led us this
Fight on.
far?
Oh no.
No,
Oh no.
hold fast, fight on to the end.
Sensational Sundays with your girl Elise on Flashpoint Radio. Come, let's talk, let's hang, let's just jam on Sunday, 3 p.m. Flashpoint Radio. It is truly an educational, sensational Sunday today, and believe me, listeners, I have my pen and my paper. I am taking notes. I'm learning about perilla and natto and insulin and triglycerides. I hope you know that you are at your university, the University of Flashpoint. Your health is truly your wealth. Your health is truly your wealth. And I know I have so many friends who are struggling with sugar, aka diabetes. And I know the genetic factors play a part. You know, your parents were probably diabetic, but that doesn't mean that you have no control and that you're bound to become diabetic. Am I right, Dr. Dorner? It doesn't mean that this is a
Yes.
sentence.
You know, I follow Barbara O'Neill. She has a statement that she makes that I really like. And she says, genetics load the gun, lifestyle
Fires it.
pulls the trigger.
Yes.
Okay? So let's say our parents didn't know the laws of health, didn't follow, just gave whatever they could afford in some cases. And they developed this terrible illness. Doesn't mean you have to follow in that path. And as a matter of fact, even if you were diagnosed with diabetes, I've treated people with newly diagnosed with an A1C of 13.5. 3 months later, the A1C was down to 5.8. No medicine. We are what we eat. Brother Sebastian was talking about the green juice. What I said was earlier, previously, we can pray, we can do all the things, we can backpedal after we've developed the disease. But if we're not willing to change, then it is no use, no good. So when this happens, when you're faced with this problem, it is time for you to change everything that you're doing. You've got to get back to basics. You have to then, one of the things that I utilize a lot in most patients is to put them on this green juice fast. And it's very simple. The one that I use mostly, it has to do with kale, carrot, celery, and an apple or pineapple. And I use those two because of their digestive effects. And for 10 to 14 days, there is absolutely no food, not anything else beside this juice. That's all. So I tell them, we're not going to jump into it right now. You have to think about it and plan for it. They're doing that. I also use a superfood, either the chlorella or spirulina, either of those two. And that's what they do. They have 3 times a day. They'll do that for 10 days or 14 days.
That is
And
spirula, and I didn't hear the first one. Spirula and
spirulina, it's Spirulina,
yes,
spirulina, or chlorella,
chlorella.
Chlorella,
Okay.
chlorella.
They are both from the ocean. They are both from the
Yes.
ocean. They are very, very good. And again, you don't need to for listen. Just for the past 2 weeks, at least in the morning, I did not eat anything but green juice. I'm surviving, and it's excellent. Those people who are in the Caribbean island don't miss the ocean. You just go to the ocean every day for 1 hour. That is your best therapy. Those people who are diabetic, those people who have stroke and all these things, when you just go to the ocean, you got your sunlight, you got your fresh air, you got your exercise, you got your magnesium, the micro circulation. And then when the wave hit at you, you got the massage free of charge. And the micro circulation, the 70% of your body, the capillary you need, the micro circulation, go to the beach. So, my friend, please buy me a ticket. I want to come to Cayman Islands to the beach.
Yes,
Oh, you're
we're
killing
working
me.
on that, Sebastian. We hope to have you back here soon.
You're killing me, man. You're really killing me.
You can come virtually, Dr. Dorner. We'll send you pictures.
Oh, so that's how it is, huh?
No, 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 that's not how it is. You can come
Oh,
literally.
that's how it is. Oh, we're waiting to get you, but you can come virtually. Oh man, I'm out of here.
No, 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 no. We need to have you
And
here.
again, I have a group of people in Cayman Island called Gospel Medical Missionary. I miss some of them. I have trained some of them there, and they can help you. Those people who need help right now. I even received some a note from people from Jamaica. The father is 97 years old who have stroke, and they use all the things that I'm teaching them, and now the father is walking, and 97 years old, having stroke, and now they are walking and smiling. And you can be a blessing to others when you come and join me to get the training. You can be a blessing. Can you imagine 97 years old when they get stroke, and when they learn about the therapy, they're helping the father, and now the father is walking right now.
That's amazing. That's amazing. And you mentioned one thing in particular when you had come for the training, and you said that you need to believe. You need to believe. So, the question I have for both of you, Dr. Dorner, you spoke about persons who you have helped with very high A1C. What part does your faith play in your healing and in your health?
Well, you know, if you're not going to as I said earlier, the last one that we look on with that T, that trust in divine power, that kind of is the engine starter. If you do not have God, you're carrying all your stress with you. You have him, he said, come unto me, all ye that labor and are heavy laden, and I will give you rest. Rest from stress, from because stress is a killer. There are hormones that go with the stress. There are things that make your heart go faster than it should. We need to rest in Him and know that He is our provider and He will take care of everything. There have been lately several people that I've heard of who were sent home because the doctors are telling them, we cannot do anything more to help you. Go home and die. Okay? And that is when I get really upset because God didn't give them that privilege to tell somebody, you don't know. You may say, well, it doesn't look like you're going to be able to survive. But as a provider, we're supposed to allow people to have the best quality of life that they can have. And if you're telling somebody you're 80 years old, so, there's nothing better, nothing more I can do for you, then we have a problem. So I am telling people, trust in God and allow God to do the rest. Now, you reverse whatever it is you were doing. You have stage 4 cancer. So are we doing the juicing? Are we eliminating sugars from our diets? Are we exercising? Are we having a merry heart? You know, those are the issues, and those are the things that will allow us to come into a healthier, even your mind. If your mind is caught up with all the craziness and all the fear mongering and all of that stuff that's going on in the world now, you're doing the wrong thing. Because he told us, he said, when you see these things, look where?
Up.
He didn't say to look around you. He didn't say we were to expect, and we have enough in our doctrines to keep us going. And what God expects of us, He supplies, He provides. So let us not sit down and say, oh, this is what they told me, and this is what. Take out your Bible, get up, walk down to the beach or wherever you need to walk, make it a part of your routine. Get out there and do the swimming or whatever it is you can do. Don't say, I am so old, so no. God didn't tell you that. You get up and do, because we have a promise in Isaiah 40. You know that, right? We have that promise. It says, they that wait upon the Lord shall renew their strength. They shall mount up with wings like eagles. They're going to walk and not be weary. They're going to run. No, they're going to run and not be weary. They're going to walk and not faint. And it says, even the youth shall fail. But see the old people running up and down the beach? That is God's plan for us. That's what He intends. So we need to, as the people of God in these last days, we need to show the world what God has done for us, what He is doing for us, and not go in there like some broken down person, not knowing God. Because He did promise none of the diseases of the Egyptians would come upon us if we followed and adhered to His commands. Yep.
Amazing. What I gather from both of you is a fundamental principle that it's now a reality. The mind. We spoke recently about self care and we do all the cosmetic things, but that connection with God and reaching the point that you can trust Him even in the midst of the storms to maintain your health and direction in life. And that comes through spending time with Him. It comes through spending time in the Word and staying connected with God. So that then you can do the laws of health, the nutrition, the exercise, the trust in God. Because stress, I believe, is one of the greatest
Evils.
evils.
Mm-hmm.
And learning to cope with stress. If we could just, you know, find that peace that God gives. I found myself in that situation where I was so worried and I just forgot the fundamental principle. We talk about it, but we need to live it.
Live
We
it.
need to
Hallelujah.
apply it to our
Hallelujah.
lives
Mm-hmm.
so that we can survive in this world and not be walking like some broken down. That you said it right, because we sometimes we just forget who we are, what God has told us, and the promises that are there in the Bible for us. Sebastian, you were saying that we should also trust in God and believe. When he came here, he said, "You have to believe. You have to believe." Sebastian.
And, and the key is God is the one can heal you. We are fearfully and wonderfully made, and God is the great healer. You need to start to go to church. A lot of you, because of COVID-19, did not go to church. Start to go to church to worship God. When you worship God, all your health problem will be gone. So my friend, and look at me. Some of you, you have a roll of newspaper or you have some book, just roll it up and read at yourself. Those of you who cannot go to the church or cannot go to the ocean, get a roll of newspaper or get some magazine, roll it up with your scotch tape and beat your whole body. Beat your whole body. I'm using a roll of newspaper or magazine, put a scotch tape, beat at your whole body. Get the circulation. Get the
Circulation.
circulation. The beat at your hand and then step on. There's a lot of things that you can do. You don't need to get a jogging shoes to go out and jog. Just do just use your finger and rub your hair, rub your face, rub your neck, beat at your own self. There is so important things that you can do to get the micro circulation. The life of the flesh is in the blood. Perfect health depends on perfect circulation. Get active even when you are in bed. Somebody can do it for you.
Even when you're in pain, you are to push and push through the pain and get moving. That's
That's
the
right.
word,
That's right.
right? Get moving. All right. So I know that Dr. Dorner mentioned about the three angels message. I want her to touch on that and connect it to the health message.
Well, the right arm of the third angel's message is the health reform. And that was given to us in 1863. Okay? All of the issues surrounding even the way we practice medicine today was given when? Was evolving when? In the 1860s. God knew what we needed. Okay? Now, this is a part of, because how is it going to be for the people of God to be telling people about the coming Christ and all of that, and then we're broken down, and then we're not able to walk and spread the news and do all that we need to do? That is that God intended. So now our bodies, we're told, are the temple
Temple.
of God. And we have to come into order with how, remember when God called Moses and also Joshua, and they're standing, and he says, remove your shoes from off your feet, because the place on which you're standing is holy ground. So we cannot, and all the lamb and everything that was put in the sacrificial system had to be perfect. Yes, they could have no blemish. So, and as far as we can, we have to follow those things, those prescriptions given in Leviticus about the foods that we're able to eat. That's one thing, talking about nutrition. But if we have one heart, okay, that's to last you for a lifetime. And if that heart beats every day at the same rate because you don't sleep or you knock it up with some caffeine or whatever, what's going to happen? It's going to run out before you are ready to go. And you dishonor God when you do not follow what when you buy a car, for example, you're given manuals, instructions as how to maintain, to keep the car to its maximum uh, benefits, right? If you don't, what's going to happen? You could have a car that you're driving and it burns up because you haven't changed the oils, you haven't put the oils in, or whatever. So it is, we have been given these manuals. And in these last days, we have to have our system working according to how God wants us to be optimized. And that is the thing. There's a lot more under there that I don't really want to get into now, because this is also a test. Okay? It is also testing us to prepare us for that soon coming. We have to pass these tests. It's just what it is. And as a preliminary to this, look at Jesus. Look, no, look at our first parents. Were they tested?
Yes.
What was it on? They were tested on
Diet.
appetite. Yes,
Yes. Appetite.
they had to be obedient to that. Was Jesus tested on the same? Yes, and
Appetite.
we will be too. Daniel, we have all of this stuff in why is it Daniel and his companions decided, they purposed in their hearts that they would not be defiled with the king's meat and his portions. So same way now as we go along. And just the other day I was thinking, Jesus is on the cross, he is thirsty. And they come to give him vinegar. And he refused it because his mind needs to be clear. Now, we've been given counsels on diets, for example. It's broken down for us. When we eat something that crosses, let's say we do a fruit and a vegetable, and our foods are not being absorbed, not being processed the way it should, and that stuff stays in your gut for 3 4 days or beyond, then you start to make alcohol inside of you. What kind of system? Your system is breaking down. That's how we get sick. Let's not even get into how they've manipulated and messed with the food, putting all kinds of genetic stuff in there, and that's killing off a lot of young people. Gotta say, so we must know our God that we believe in and what He is doing for us. My biggest statement with all the Spirit of Prophecy writings is when Sister White says higher. than the highest human thought can
It's
reach
God's ideal for
is
his
God's ideal for his children. Yes.
godliness, godliness.
So all of what he's given to us is for our good. And if only we would follow them. Before I stop, I just want to say remember, if you're a diabetic, if you have cancer, if you have hypertension, if you have breast cancer, whatever you've done yesterday, you need to stop that. And you need to go back and look and see what laws you have violated. Because even when you pray and get anointed and you don't change, things will not be better. You've got to change. Look into what you've done, look into what you're doing, and ask God to give you the strength and the will and the courage. After all, Paul tells us in Philippians 2, I believe it's 13, for it is God who works in us, both to will and to do of his good pleasure. And I'll be quiet now.
Wonderful. I wanted to ask you though about pancreatic cancer before you get quiet, but that's after the break. So we're going to take a short break and then we're going to find out more.
The question is,
God is a bomb in Gilead. God is a bomb. God is a bomb in Gilead. God is a bomb. He's a bomb. He's a bomb in Gilead. 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 We give him honor. We give him praise. We lift our voices and our hands we raise. We love to sing and praise our King, for he has given us everything. God is a bomb in Gilead. God is a bomb. God is a bomb in Gilead. God is a bomb. He's a bomb. He's a bomb in Gilead. 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 We exalt and praise his holy name. We will lift our eyes unto the hills again, for he has done such marvelous things, of which I'm glad, and so I sing. God is a bomb in Gilead. God is a bomb. God is a bomb in Gilead. God is a bomb. He's a bomb. He's a bomb in Gilead. 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 God is a
You just heard from Dr. O'Neill Duncan, who reminded us that God is a balm in Gilead. So appropriate, these words, that no matter what circumstance you find yourself in, no matter what state of health, there's still hope. And whether it's your mental health or your spiritual health, we are willing to make that change. God will give us the strength that we need to make that change. But it starts with just putting your trust in the Almighty God, the one who created us, the one who knows every fiber of our being, every cell of our body, the one who knows that every hair of our head, can you imagine? Every hair is numbered. That's the kind of God we are talking about this afternoon. So, indeed, your health is your wealth in God. Your health is your wealth in God. So, before we left off, we're just about to embark on a challenging subject, and the cancers are there, and we do our best, but where did so much cancer come from? That's the $1 million question. Where? We don't know where. Where? But
Well,
Dr.
just
Dorner,
think about the foods that we've been eating. You know, you don't know now. What was it? I saw something the other day where they were actually putting, well, I don't know how true because I haven't checked it out or validated it, but something about they're making those who didn't take vaccines are probably now eating it in the food. Yeah, just saying. I haven't checked it out. Just saying. But things happen like what we were saying with this, with the insulin. It causes the growth of cancer cells.
ah,
And our society has gotten bigger. We're storing a lot of fat. And, that is telling you that there's excess. There's a lot of insulin around there. So the problem with the cancer you mentioned, the pancreatic cancer, is that it makes a lot of hormones, a lot of digestive stuff. And I mean, when you try to fix one area, something else is happening. It's extremely difficult to control or to treat that kind of active cancer. So the question is, and one of the principles that I go by is you need to starve the cancer so that it doesn't, when it comes to the sugar and all of that stuff, and it should make sense to us now as we talked about having excess sugar causes more insulin, so it's like a revolving door that doesn't go away. I don't have a simple answer for you when it comes to that. When it comes to, because personally, I do not treat um, pancreatic cancer. But I'm just saying, I know just looking at it, even from a distance, that it's extremely difficult. And there are maybe a handful of people who have survived it, but I believe that is through the grace of God. It's just very extremely difficult to manage and to control. So that is something that if I knew somebody who had it, I would do the research myself and try to get them to where they need to get to. But it's very difficult, and it's very rare to hear that somebody survived. It does happen, but it's extremely difficult to get a hold of that and to keep that in
You see,
check.
usually people who have cancer, their oxygen level is very low. Okay, so the oxygen level. So those people who live in the ocean, you have a lot of advantage. The fresh air, you know. So and then there's a few things that I would love to do for people who have cancer is get into the sunlight. When you have sunlight, you see, those of you who live in the Caribbean island, who are in the Cayman Island, although you have sun every day, but sometimes you still did not get a lot of sun into your body, and especially those who wear glasses. When you wear glasses, you need to take off your glasses, walk under the sun, and then your back, back, your back, you need to get a lot of sun on your back. So, and of course, there's a few things that you can do when you have cancer is go on the juice diet, green juice diet, get a lot of fresh air, and especially there's something there's what we call castor oil. You know, you can put the castor oil pack all over your body and get yourself into the sun. There's a lot of things that you can do for people who have cancer. Okay, and again, prevention is better than cure. The animal products is one of the key problem of people who have cancer. So a vegan diet, a plant-based diet are very crucial in the last day.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. So, as we start to wrap up this program this afternoon, and I tell you, it's such a wealth of information, and we have just touched on the surface. And you mentioned, Dr. Dorner, about the processed foods, and then Sebastian gave us some examples. But I want to remind the listeners, I want you to remind the listeners about those foods that we consider as processed and those that we consider as non-processed or the better foods. Just remind us so that we can look out for those things when we are getting our meals and menu plans for the coming week, because we have to change not tomorrow but today.
You see, when you go to the Chinese restaurant, you eat the rice and the noodles or the pasta or the pizza. That's all processed food, okay? White flour, or your bread, white rice, white flour, or if you eat roti, if you eat brown rice, unpolished rice, if you eat whole wheat noodles, all these things is not processed, okay? Everything that is white color, okay? Yeah, a lot of, unless it's the vegetable. When you go to the Chinese restaurant, you go to the Thai restaurant, you go to the Indian restaurant, all the rice is processed. Okay, the chickpea is good, the cassava is good, the pumpkin is good, the avocado, the mango, they are not processed. Okay, so when you're talking about processed food, is degenerated food, or your bread, or your pasta, or your spaghetti. That is processed. You need to eat whole grain, plant-based diet.
Dr. Dorner, anything to add?
Yes. Well, there are some things that we have around us. And I just wanted to say, and one of the things is dandelion. Anybody know that? That's that weed that's so troublesome with the yellow flower.
Yes, dandelion. Yes.
Okay. Dandelion regulates sugar. It's also a diuretic. So it helps the blood pressure and the sugar and does a number of other things. So if we could find these kinds of things around us, that would help us even without worrying about um, all the different medicines that we have to take. Because I'm a little concerned about some people who think they cannot live without their medicines. And we need to figure out the natural things that may be used that may help us, that we may come to use instead of these medicines that are being prescribed for us.
I am
So
150%. We have lost so much trust in the natural. We rely, and then each of the medication that we take, it has another side effect.
There you go.
So
There
if
you go.
you
So
know,
who are we making better? We're
yeah,
enriching the rich, right?
yes, yes, yes. So you mentioned dandelion. Is it a? How would we prepare it, as a tea or as a? Or you
You can
just add
take
it
the
to?
leaves. You can cook, stew the leaves. You can cut it up and make it like you would callaloo or one of those things. What with the dandelion though, you have to kind of blanch it a little bit to get the bitter taste out of it. You can roast the root and grind it so it tastes like coffee. You can they use the flour to make like a jam. There are different
Wow.
ways to use it. But I'll just tell you real briefly here. It's used for constipation, for flatulence, and for indigestion. It's used for diabetes. It's used for edema. It's used for hepatitis, for high blood pressure, for gout, if you lose your appetite, if you have PMS or menopause or hormonal balancing, or for weight loss. Dandelion.
Dr. Ambassador, in Jamaica, in Caribbean island, there's a kind of herbs. It's grow everywhere. It's from the tree. I forgot the name. You
Moringa?
know, it's
Is it the moringa?
moringa. And it's everywhere. You can pluck the
Yes.
leaf and then you can cook it or you can blend it with some pineapple. The moringa is excellent. There's a
Yes.
lot of green leafy vegetable, the cassava, the sweet potato leaf, the pumpkin leaf. It can be eaten
I
everywhere.
just
You can
learned
grow your own.
that the cassava is very good for prostate cancer.
Yeah, it's excellent. The cassava, I cannot overemphasize. You can
Mm-hmm.
grow it in Cayman Island. Listen,
And
there's a
my
lot of
favorite,
things Cayman
one
Island can
that
do.
you taught me, one that you taught me is the bromelain. And that's become one of my favorite enzymes. Bromelain, we make it from the pineapple.
Oh,
And
yes,
the
yes,
green
yes,
pineapple
yes,
too, the
yes,
green
yes.
pineapple or the mango. Man, I enjoy mango in Cayman Island. You have such a
Okay,
best
all
mango.
right. Okay.
Even the mango leaf, you can use the mango leaf and boil it, make it as a tea. And
Yes,
even green mango,
yes,
the green
yes.
papaya. Man, even
Yeah.
some of you
What
can
about
get
this? What
some.
about the sour sop?
Oh man, the sour sap is
Sour
so good.
sop. There
I
you go.
want to come
That's
back
good
to
for cancer
Cayman
too.
Island.
And
I
parsley.
want to
What
come back
about
to Cayman Island.
parsley?
Yes,
Parsley, very good.
go to the ocean, everybody. Go to
Okay.
the ocean today. Go to the ocean. Go to
This
the
man is
beach.
killing me. Stop.
Go to the church.
Dr. Dorner, if you
Yes.
if you come for one thing, you need to come in mango season. I tell you,
Girl, I would go home before I would hit Jamaica.
I listen. It is something to enjoy.
I know.
And I believe my mom is saying to me, and she's in Jamaica, she's saying that she has never seen a more fruitful mango season coming up. She's like, I don't know what is going to happen, but there are so many blossoms. And I have a friend here in Cayman, and she says she has so many mangoes. So you need to come in mango season. So I'm looking, and not too much. I know you mentioned temperance earlier. I will be. I
Listen, how much mango can you eat? How much mango can you eat?
Oh,
Please do
don't
not
ask
ask
that
that
question.
question on
After eating
air.
Do
some
not ask
mango,
that question. Please, don't ask
Yes,
that
do
question.
not ask that question on air.
Okay?
How many
Let me
mangoes?
tell you, when I was a child growing up in Jamaica, right? We would get up in the mornings and we would get a bucket. Each person would have a bucket. And we would just go and pick up those mangoes. And let me tell you, we ate mangoes.
and after you eat mango, take a teaspoon of castor oil. Get a teaspoon of castor oil, it will perch you up.
Purge you.
Brother,
You, yes.
Okay.
Even the
it will,
ocean water,
when
if
you
you
said it
drink
will
the
do what?
ocean
It will
water,
blow
it
you
will
out?
push you out too.
Purge. Oh, at
Purge.
the end of the summer, we got something called worm medicine, okay?
Yes. I still give my kids that.
Where did you get that? I don't see that anywhere.
I want to say, all my friends in Cayman Island, I miss you all. I'm coming back. I will be there, okay? All my friends in Cayman Island, I'm coming back.
Okay. All right.
Well, we are looking forward to have you. So as we take the curtains down on this wonderful, I must say, I thank you so much. And my appreciation is just and I know that the listeners appreciate you being here. Your health, I tell you, when you have issues with your health, there is nothing. You will climb every mountain, cross every ocean to get good health. So I want to thank you for joining us here in the studio of Flashpoint Radio. But before we go, I want you to leave words of encouragement, words of inspiration, words of motivation, any words that you want to leave, starting with Dr. Dorner and then Sebastian. Please just tell us something that we want. Whether you're here in Cayman listening, you're in the US, you're in Jamaica, you're in China, you're in Australia, wherever you are this afternoon, we have words of encouragement and education and inspiration for you. Go ahead, Dr. Dorner.
Remember, God is above all. He knows all things. And He has given us the best that we can ever hope to have. And He will never, He is faithful and He will always be there. And sometimes you may think you have gotten a bad deal, but remember to count your blessings. You're able to see, you're able to speak, you're able to walk, you're able to talk, you have your family around you. Count your blessings. Name them one by one, and it will surprise you what the Lord has done. I'm going to sing now. When upon life's billows you are tempest tossed, when you are discouraged, thinking all is lost, count your many blessings, name them one by one, and it will surprise you what the Lord has done. Count your blessings, name them one by one. Count your many blessings, see what God has done. Count your blessings, name them one by one, and it will surprise you what the Lord has done. Praise the Lord. He
Praise the
is
Lord.
awesome. He is almighty and everlasting. And now we look forward to him bursting the clouds, and we will all be saying, Lo, this is our God. We've waited for him, and he will save us. Amen.
Wonderful, wonderful. And Sebastian.
Yeah, beside the Bible, there's three books that you need to read. Step to Christ, there's a book called Step to Christ you need to read. And then Ministry of Healing, God in His high and holy place, not in the state of inactivity, not in silence and solitude, but surrounded by thousands and thousands of holy beings, all waiting to do His will. God is in the
Amen.
business of healing. Jesus want to heal you. God, Jesus is in the business of healing. When you come to Jesus, all ye are heavy and heavy laden can come unto me, okay? Jesus can heal you, go to him. So there's another last book that you need to read. It's Great Controversy, especially the last few chapters. So there's a book called Ministry of Healing. There's a book called Step to Christ. There's a book called Great Controversy. The last few chapters you need to read. And those who are in healing, you need to read the book Counsel, Diet, and Food. And there's one thing that I did not mention in this one is turmeric. Drink your turmeric tea every day. Turmeric, one of the highest antioxidant that can kill the cancer cell. Turmeric tea. Can you all repeat for me? Turmeric.
Turmeric tea.
Turmeric tea.
Yes, you need to consume every day to prevent all kind of cancer. God love you. God is in the business of healing. Sebastian is on the way to Cayman Island.
Yay! And Dr. Dorner, I just
Yeah.
remembered I need to. Have you heard about NAC? NAC?
Yes. And acetylcysteine.
What benefits do you know of this?
Well, it's one of the things that we use when people used to overdose with Tylenol. That's one of the things we
Used to use.
used.
Okay.
Let me just give me a second here. Let me see if I find anything here. I actually have a bottle of that right here with me. And acetylcysteine. Let me just see here. Can't remember all the benefits from that.
For liver, I think liver health.
Hmm?
Liver for the. I think it's
Yes, that's
taken with milk thistle.
milk thistle. Yeah, that is the damage that would be sustained if a person overdosed, like people are trying to hurt themselves, and that's the main thing that's used with that.
Okay.
But I know it has some benefits for the brain. That's what I was looking for. I don't want to say something off the top of my head and don't have a backup for that. So that's why bear with me for one more second here.
恳求救主格外垂听，倾听我祈祷。经有别人被主宣召，莫把我弃
Oh
掉。
boy.
救主，救主，请听我祈求。
Let's count your blessings.
Pass me not, O gentle Savior.
Ah!
I was listening. I was listening to that. I was listening to that one, Sebastian, and I was just saying, man, if I could just sing in another language.
Amazing ability to act in various levels. Protective action. Hold on. So it has the ability to cross the blood-brain barrier. It's actually from an amino acid called cysteine, which is essential. It works on the pulmonary system and the bronchial pathways. And it can cross the brain, can access the brain directly. That's what I was thinking. I remembered it for people use it for Alzheimer's. And now it's saying it interacts with our immune system, with the interleukins, and helps with the inflammatory processes and cell proliferation. It also helps with menopause.
Okay.
And so there's a number of things. Look like it's a precursor of glutathione. So detoxification function has long been used in conventional medicine in cases of acetaminophen poisoning. That's what I remember.
Yeah.
And apparently it helps with the glutathione levels. So,
Yes.
yes.
Right. So thank you so much.
Quite a few benefits.
I think I might be having a little our feedback here. Well, thank you so much. It has been a wonderful afternoon. It has been a blessing to me, and I'm sure it has been beneficial to our listeners as well. So, from the team here at Flashpoint Radio, I want to extend my gratitude for joining us today on this sensational Sunday. And I'm your girl Eldis, and I'm saying ta-ta for now. Have a wonderful, wonderful afternoon.
Do the same.
清风浪过黑夜，就令我见光明。亲爱主，牵我手
Make you go viral.
到天庭。
What were you singing now?
亲爱主 ，Precious Lord, lead me on。
What?
我道路虽崎岖，主领进为忧伤。我在途快打完美好战。
Okay, I gotta go.
我到扶我求
Good to see you.
放跌倒，亲爱主牵我手，帮你到。When you sing Chinese song, your immune system will boost out. Okay?
My immune system, what?
I'm gonna learn some Chinese. I'm gonna learn some Chinese songs now.
I think more than my immune system. I think more than my immune system would be affected. Okay. Alrighty. Okay, guys. Very nice meeting you all.
Okay, God bless you all.
All right, you too. Bye bye now.
And I've seen lots of faces, but something in my soul cries out for more. I have been there, done that, is what I used to say. Still my heart is empty. Lord, I yearn for you today. Lord, lift me higher. Stand, Lord, let me see your glory and the promised land. There were times I felt I had it all. Happiness, satisfaction, Lord, I do recall, but true peace escaped me. Now an emptiness inside. No, there's something more, Lord. Your love I can't deny. Lord, lift me higher, higher than I've been, higher than my failures and the guilt of all my sins. Lord, lift me higher, high and let me stand. Lord, let me see your glory and the promised land. Lift me up and I shall stand. I put my trust into your hand. I want to be all you want. to be and place my feet on solid ground. Help me, Lord, to win that ground. Till your blessed face, Lord, I see. Lord, lift me higher than I've been, higher than my failures and the guilt of all my sins. Lord, lift me higher, let me stand. Lord, let me see your glory and the promised land. Lord, let me see your glory and the promised land.
Yeah, man, I know what's your Tommy T representing for Flash.